China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking.
Hey everyone, this is China Chicken, and I wanted to do a review of the first episode of HBO Max's series, Hard Knocks Training Camp with the Buffalo Bills. And this has a special place in my heart because obviously I'm a Bills fan, if you know my channel. Huge Bills fan, huge Josh Allen fan. I really think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I really believe Josh Allen is the best player in NFL history, or he will be considered that by the time he retires, but I think he's already there, in my opinion. But anyways, another reason this is super important to me is training camp is in Rochester, New York, and that is actually where I grew up and where I've lived most of my life. Recently, I've moved away, but hoping to go back at some point. And so I wanted to see how they highlight the city of Rochester and the town of Pittsford, where this is held at St. John Fisher University. So I think that's really cool. So let's go through some of my favorite scenes throughout the first episode. I'll let you know. So they show a few scenes of a couple Buffalo Bills players packing, getting ready to go to training camp. Thought this was funny with Dawson Knox. He had a bag filled up where he just had like a few things, and training camps for a couple weeks, and his wife comes in and she's like, "What are you doing? Let me do this for you." So I thought that was pretty good. Obviously Josh Allen is going to be a big draw to this show and highlighting him, but I just wanted to focus on the buildings surrounding this as Josh Allen's walking in the training camp. And I've been by these buildings many times in my life, and it's just very cool to see on an HBO Max show. I think that's so cool. I also love looking at all the cars that the players and coaches drive on a daily basis here, parked in this parking lot where I've parked in many times. So I think that's really funny. When we have this scene here of Josh Allen signing in at St. John Fisher College, I think he's getting his keys or whatever to his room, to his dorm, and he sees Elijah Moore, who's a new wide receiver on the Buffalo Bills this year, played with the Cleveland Browns last year, and he just kind of like looks him in the eye, and they have a little stare at each other for a minute, and they both give each other a hug after that. It was just really nice to see. Got a quick flash of Taron Johnson, who's one of my favorite defensive players, checking into his room and unpacking and everything. DeMar Hamlin is here unpacking as well. Obviously, he's going to be a huge highlight of this after what he's gone through in his career, where he almost died in the middle of an NFL game on live TV, which is crazy, but they brought him back to life, and here he is. So he's obviously going to be a huge draw to the show as well. Here's my guy, Sean McDermott. Not a lot of people believe in Sean McDermott as a coach or a head coach, and I definitely do. And I think he's just like the Bills and Josh Allen, getting better every year. And honestly, I think Sean McDermott has become a better head coach every single year. And eventually he's going to be hosting that Lombardi Trophy, hopefully by the end of this year. Here we have Josh Allen stepping out onto the field at St. John Fisher University for the first time. And as he does that, he's greeted by all the fans, and everyone's yelling, "Josh Allen, sign my jersey, sign my picture, sign this, sign that." And Josh is like, "Okay, I'll get it after practice." And, he does with a smile on his face. He's the face of the franchise. Everyone wants his autograph, and he's the best player in the NFL. Really love this scene as well. They did kind of a flashback of the 90s Buffalo Bills and how they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row and famously lost all 4 Super Bowls in a row. And, they kind of tie it together to the Bills losing to the Chiefs 4 times in a row in the playoffs. It's kind of the same deal. It's the only team that's holding them back from winning that Super Bowl. So hopefully they can do it this year, and hopefully we have another party like these guys in the parking lot and some sort of hot tub, and obviously hammered drunk drinking beer. To me, this is the best moment of this last year, the 2024 season, where Josh Allen has this highlight of him. Well, first of all, Amari Cooper caught the ball and then pitched it back to him, which is the coolest part of the play. And then Josh Allen does a Superman dive to the pylon and scores a touchdown in the snow in Buffalo. So that was pretty cool to see. And I love seeing these two put in work together. There's Joe Brady, the offense coordinator, and Josh Allen talking and working on a game plan that they can use for this year. And I still think the everybody eats mentality is still going to be true this year throughout the whole season. It really worked last year. They scored over 30 points a game and had the most points in franchise history. This is Josh Palmer, the new wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, new target for Josh Allen to throw to. And they just signed him to a 3-year deal, about $12 million per year, something like that. So excited to see him get the work. He should be probably their new number one receiver, I would think. New Buffalo Bills defensive end Joey Bosa. The only issue with him is he's getting a little older. I think he just turned 30 years old, and he does get injured a lot. So hopefully he can stay healthy throughout the whole year and get plenty of sacks for the Bills. Let's go. I thought this was hilarious, but also kind of scary as hell. I didn't think Deion Dawkins liked going drifting, but apparently he does it every day from what he said. And this time he brings his daughter with him, which is kind of weird to me. She's got a helmet that's way too big for her, and she doesn't even fit in the seat right. And he's doing drifting with her. I thought it was a joke in the beginning, but no, there he is. And I'm surprised the Bills let him do this, honestly. They might have they might be talking to him after this about doing this in his spare time. Hopefully he stays safe here. I love this little moment between Sean McDermott, the head coach, and Terry Pegula, the owner of the team. This was really cool. He was just kind of teaching Terry Pegula how things work at training camp and practice and everything, and they were talking back and forth about different players. I think they were mostly talking about Tre'Davious White and how he looked coming back to the team after a year away. Obviously, the Bills drafted him back in 2017. He had a Pro Bowl, even All-Pro caliber career with the Buffalo Bills, but after a couple injuries, they had to let him loose, and he ended up coming back, and he's been looking really good in training camp, so I'm excited to see how he can help his team win a Super Bowl this year. And here's the guy, Tre'Davious White. He's looking a little bit older, but, he's still playing pretty well, and he's such a funny guy, too. He has a lot of antics throughout this episode that I'll also highlight in the future. But, just a really cool player. I'm so glad he's back on the team. This is a really cool moment with Trey White and his wife after practice. Actually, just outside of St. John Fisher College, he was doing sprints up a hill. And his wife is saying, "What are you doing? You're getting older. You can't be doing that." And he's like, "I got to keep an edge on these kids somehow," because the Bills did draft a rookie wide receiver, a couple of them in this draft. So he's got to make sure he's got the edge over those kids and can still keep up with them. So he's doing some extra work after training camp, which is very interesting to me. And this is the best part that they've highlighted in the HBO Max Hard Knocks series with the Buffalo Bills, that they went to St. John Fisher St. John Fisher University, and just outside of the university, there's the town of Pittsford, which has Pittsford Dairy Farms, and they do ice cream there. So Trey White and Christian Benford were there getting ice cream, and Trey decided, hey, I'm going to try out this new thing. And he said, put a warm cookie down and put ice cream on top and sprinkles and whipped cream. And there you go. You got a Trey Day Sundae. So he was going around the store selling Trey Day Sundaes for Pittsford Dairy. And I thought that was really funny. And actually now I heard they actually have this on the menu at Pittsford Dairy Farms. So I think that's really cool that they did that for the HBO Max series. I thought this was a really fun segment that they did in the first episode with all the players scootering around the university. It just showed the college really well, and obviously the players having fun between practice, hanging out together. That's the whole point of training camp, is hanging out, practicing together, getting better at football, but also building that camaraderie and that chemistry together. Not just, O-line and O-line together, everyone, the whole team. This is a team sport, and just really important to the Buffalo Bills for them to go to training camp and be able to do this and have fun together. This was a tough moment to see. You see Maxwell Harrison on the ground being looked at by trainers and being surrounded by Trey White and Christian Benford, the two starting cornerbacks now. But Maxwell Harrison is a first-round pick, and he's also a cornerback, and he's looking to win that starting job over Trey White. And he's down on the ground getting his knee looked at. And it was determined that he does have an LCL sprain, and it was not an ACL or any of those, a tear or anything. It was not a season-ending injury. It's just he's going to be out a couple weeks probably. So that was really huge to see, and to see Trey White and Christian Benford looking down on that. Obviously, Trey White's had his own problems with injury, so he knows where this kid is at, and he knows where his mind is at, and hopefully he can help him and be a leader towards him and helping him getting his head back into the game after this injury as well. This was a really weird moment in the series, in the first episode at least, but they show AJ Epineza, who's a defensive end. Apparently he and his dog go out python hunting, so I thought that was really interesting, and they do that down in Florida during the off season, so that was really interesting and also kind of scary. Like, I would never do that. I hate snakes, so would never even think about doing that, but kind of funny, I guess. And here we go. We got Josh Allen taking a tour of the brand new stadium that they're building right across the parking lot with owner Terry Pagula. And here he is just looking up in the stadium, and it really gets me emotional thinking that Josh Allen is going to be the guy closing out current Highmark Stadium at the end of this year, and he's going to be opening up the new Highmark Stadium next year when the stadium finally opens, and he's asking about the wind down at field level because that's a huge concern for him. Obviously, in the current stadium, they don't have any protection against that. The stadium was built 60 years ago, but now they have different technologies that they can use to make the wind at field level a lot easier for Josh to handle. So that was like one of the first questions he asks, along with having saunas in the locker room area. So I thought that was really funny, and this just got me really emotional seeing Josh Allen there at field level, ready to play in the new stadium. So this scene is back in Buffalo. They do a practice every year for the fans called the Return of the Blue and Red, and Josh Allen comes out wearing that red helmet that we're going to see at the end of this year against the Jets for a whole game. Every player will be wearing this red helmet, which is a throwback to the 90s Bills and those Super Bowl runs that they had. So just really cool to see him with that red helmet, making the fans happy, throwing the ball around with the fans, and signing a lot of autographs that day. He's such a good guy and great for our community, and great NFL player as well, and I really do think he's going to get that trophy. And that's a wrap for the first episode of Hard Knocks. I really thought it was interesting that they didn't really show any negative things except for the Maxwell Hairston injury. Usually on Hard Knocks, there's always something throughout training camp that comes up as a controversy, if it's a player getting cut or just something weird that one of the coaches says. There's always something like that, and we haven't had that in this episode from what I saw. Let me know if you guys think differently down in the comments section below, but so far I really love this as a Bills fan. I don't know if you're not a Bills fan if you would even enjoy this at all. I have no idea, but I thought it was really good. So let me know what you think down below. Leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day, everybody.